You're all here. Let's see if you're all here. Good morning. You are here. Oh my goodness. And how cool, how special is it that you get chapel before chapel? You get a sneak preview that no one else in the entire school gets but you.
And Pastor Brian, we said we get to be in God's house 3 times.
Yes, 3 times this week. Today, tomorrow for the special day we call Ash Wednesday. And then Friday you have your normal chapel too. So 3 times this week. Man, this is like the best week of the year. That's a garment to symbolize. Purple is the color of Lent. Ash Wednesday starts a special season. So you know how we have winter, summer, fall, and spring? Those are our seasons of weather, but we have seasons in the church too. And since we're starting Lent, that's why it's purple up on the cross. And Lent goes for 40 days, and it builds up and gives you time to get ready and excited for Easter. Easter is at the end of Lent, and we love Easter. That's exciting. So this part, Ash Wednesday, is the first day for us to start getting ready to start thinking about Easter. And so the very first thing I want to talk to you about is that first part of the name, Ash. Ash Wednesday. If I take some tree branches and I make a campfire and they're all done, they're all burnt up, what is left over? Yes. Yeah, ash, black, kind of sandy ash is all that the tree is made up of, and you don't see that until it's all burned away, till the tree's not alive anymore, right? So I have some things I brought with me today. What do we use this stuff for? What can we use it for? Special shaped buckets. What do you think? Yeah. What? Sand, yes, but what can you use a bucket? If I fill this bucket with sand, what can I do with it? What do you think? Yes, making sand castles. So if I pack a bunch of sand in here, if I'm at the beach and I turn it over and I pick it up real careful, what does it leave behind? A sand castle, yes. So how come when we go to the beach, who's ever been to a beach or somewhere there's been sand, or even a sandbox in your yard? How come when we go to those places, there's not just hundreds of sandcastles everywhere? Because of all the people that have been to the beach before us, if they all made a sandcastle, how come we don't just see sandcastles all over the whole beach? Usually when you go, it's nice, smooth sand. How come? Sometimes people can step on them, but then even then you would see like half of a sandcastle, but usually we don't see anything. It's nice and clear. Where did all the sandcastles go? What do you think? Yeah, what does the water do when the waves come back in later on and the water gets higher? What happens to the sandcastles? Lydia? They go from this to, yeah, this. No more sandcastle. When that sand goes back to just sand again and it's not shaped like a castle, doesn't last forever, right? Yeah. So that's why when you come to make a new sandcastle, you're like, you don't see all the old ones. So ashes is kind of like sand. It's basically just the same thing. This is kinetic sand. It's like Play-Doh. Anybody play with Play-Doh before? So if you take some of this, you can squish it, right? And form it and shape it. If I put it in something, I can make little sandcastles. In this jar, I have ash. So if you had a campfire and what was left in the fireplace, it would be just this. So I'm going to walk around and show you. It looks just kind of like sand. just black ash. See? Can you guys see?
Iverson, you can stay back.
See how it just shakes around like sand? It's kind of dirty looking, huh? I'll show you guys too. See? Yep. Black, it just looks like black sand. See how it just rolls around like sand?
That looks just like just dirty sand.
Yeah, it just looks like dirty sand. It's kind of the same thing.
Ow, it looks so cool.
And if I shake it, it rolls around like sand. Now, I wouldn't want to make a sandcastle out of this ash, though, and I'll show you why.
It looks like a salt. It's not strong enough.
If I put some water in it, I could probably form a sandcastle. But let me take some of my sand here that I brought. And if I take some of my ash, oh, look at my fingers. What's wrong with that finger now? What do you think?
It has ash on it until you wash.
Yeah, until I wash it. So let me put some on there. I'm going to put some ash on my sand. Ash sand. Is it clean? No. Not really, huh? And if I squish it and make it even more, oh man, it's getting all through there.
Push it on.
Now I got some dirty, sandy Play-Doh. So what if I told you to fix this for me?
Oh, it turned green.
Well, I had some green mixed in with pink already. But good observation. What if I asked you, can you fix this for me?
No.
Why not?
Because it'll get dirty on my fingers.
Yeah, you'll just get dirty too. You can't take it back out. When God made people, before there were parents, how he made the first people, do you know how he made them? God took sand, dust, ash from the earth, formed it, shaped it like a sandcastle, and made it into a man. But it was like a statue of a man. And then he breathed into Adam, the very first person, the breath of life. And then Adam became alive. But when we didn't listen to God, when Adam and Eve sinned, and all of us are sinful, that means we're not perfect. We don't always listen to God all the time and do what we're supposed to without ever messing up. Then we have sin, like this black ash, mixed into us. And we can't fix that. Because like you said, if we try, it just gets more dirty. We can't fix that. So because of that, God says, because there's sin now that people will have to die at some point. They won't just live forever. Like a sandcastle, it won't be on the beach forever. At some point, it's going to wash back into just sand. And so with our bodies, after we're not alive anymore, later on, eventually, after a long time, you just go back to ash. And so in the Bible, it reminds us, from ashes, from dust you came, and to dust or ash you'll return someday. But God did something about it because we can't. What is that a picture of, do you think? I saw your hand first.
The cross.
Yeah, the cross. Who died on the cross so that we don't have to be afraid of dying anymore? Yes. Jesus, yeah. God sent his son Jesus to die on the cross as the answer to the fact that we can't clean sin. Only God can. And so Jesus dying on the cross is what answers that. So here's what the coolest part is. On Ash Wednesday, what did we say we're getting ready for after Lent's over? Which holiday? Easter. Easter. Jesus died on the cross, and 3 days later, did he stay dead? No, he rose. He rose from the dead on Easter. And that's why we celebrate Easter. So on Ash Wednesday, to remind us of that, that is a special church holiday where we put a little bit of ash on a finger like this, and in chapel tomorrow, you'll get the choice, if you're comfortable, if you want, to come up front, and we'll put it either on your hand or on your forehead. And we'll draw what? A cross, reminding us that even if we go back to ash, long after we're not alive anymore, that Jesus is still going to raise us from the dead too. Because he answered the sin problem that we can't. And so that's why we draw this in ash. And later on, it just washes off. We can wash it off with soap. It's not as hard as getting it out of the Play-Doh, because this is just ash. We can't wash off sin ourselves, but we can wash this off, right? And so I'll wash my hands after this. I'll wash this off, and I'll wash my forehead, and it'll come right off. But tomorrow, if you want, and you don't have to if you're not comfortable, but is this anything to be afraid of? No. When I showed you, there wasn't anything scary about it. You just said it looked like black dust, right? And so we're just going to use it to draw a cross on Ash Wednesday that reminds not just us, but who all can see this cross right here? Raise your hand if you can see this cross. Yeah, it doesn't just remind me, it reminds all of you. And tomorrow, if you see another student, whether it's in your class or even one of the big kids, it's going to remind them too of what Ash Wednesday is all about. That it's helping us prepare, reminding us of what God had to do in order to get to Easter, in order for him to save us from sins. Yes? Or are you just raising your hand because you can see? Or did you have a question? What's your question?
I don't know.
You forgot it? That's okay. That's okay. Why don't we fold our hands? Is there any other questions? Is there anybody that's nervous? Or do you think that's okay? You're nervous a little bit? What are you nervous about, Lydia? The ashes, because they're dirty or because you think they hurt? Because I can tell you my forehead doesn't hurt at all. And my finger right here that got ashes on it, it doesn't hurt either. Did you ever get your hands dirty? I think you probably have. Your teacher's giving you up. She says you have dirty hands a lot. Does it hurt when your hands are dirty? No, you just wash them. So you don't have to be nervous. It's okay if you are, though, because it's something new. New things sometimes are scary, but we don't have to be scared of it. So hopefully today, all today shows you is that tomorrow when we do this in chapel, you won't be scared or nervous because it's something new. So can you help me pray? Fold our hands, bow our heads. Repeat after me. Dear Jesus, thank you for dying for me and rising on Easter. Thank you for Ash Wednesday tomorrow, where we can remind others of you too. Amen. Thanks, guys. As your teachers direct you, they'll dismiss you back to your classrooms.
Can we tell Pastor Brian thank you?
You're welcome. You're welcome.